Joseph Charles Plum was an US Navy jet pilot in Vietnam who flew 74 consecutive successful combat missions. However, on his 75th mission, his F-4 Phantom fighter plane was shot down over Hanoi by a surface-to-air missile. The plane exploded with some 12,000 pounds of jet fuel, flipping the plane completely topsy-turvy end over end down towards a rice paddy field below. Charlie was forced to eject. The only thing between him and his imminent death was his parachute that he prayed would open. He parachuted to safety but was captured, tortured, and spent exactly 2,103 days in a small box-like 8 feet by 8 feet cell right from May 1967 until his release on February 1973. After surviving the ordeal and having returned to America, Captain Plum was awarded the Silver Star Medal, the Bronze Star Medal, the Prisoner of War Medal, the Legion of Merit, and a Purple Heart for his bravery and service, and attained the rank of Captain in Naval Service. Many years after being repatriated, Charlie, his wife, and another couple were sitting together in a little restaurant in his hometown in Kansas City. 2 tables away was this guy who kept looking at Charlie and did not recognize him, and he kept catching this guy staring at him. Finally, the guy stood up and walked over to Charlie's table and, pointing to him with a sort of a stern look on his face, said, "You're Captain Plum," he said. Charlie looked at him and said, "Yes, I am Captain Plum." The guy said, "Aren't you the fighter pilot, part of that Top Gun outfit that flew jet fighters in Vietnam from an aircraft carrier called as Kitty Hawk? You were shot down and you parachuted into the enemy territory and spent 6 years as a prisoner of war. How in the world did you know that?" asked Plum. The man smiled and replied, "Because I packed your parachute." Plum gasped in surprise and gratitude. The man then said, "I guess the parachute worked." Plum assured him, "It surely did, because if your parachute hadn't worked, I wouldn't be here today." Plum couldn't sleep that night, thinking about that man, and kept wondering what he had looked like in a Navy uniform. He wondered how many times he might have seen him and not even said good morning or how are you, or might have even despised him because he was a fighter pilot and the man who packed his parachute was just a sailor. Plum thought of the many hours that the sailor had spent in the long wooden table in the bowels of the ship, carefully weaving the shrouds and folding the silks of each chute, holding in his hands each time the fate of someone he did not know. Friends, have you ever wondered who's packing your parachute? Everyone has someone who provides what they need to make it through the day. We all need many kinds of parachute, just the way Charles Plum needed when his plane was shot down over the enemy territory. He needed his physical parachute, he needed his mental parachute, he needed an emotional parachute, a spiritual parachute. He called on all these supports before reaching safety. Sometimes, in the daily challenges that life gives us, we miss what is important. We may fail to say hello, please, or thank you, congratulate someone on something wonderful that has happened to them, give them a compliment, or just do something nice for no reason. As we go through life, many a times we take for granted the people who help us out the most, the people who come out of the far corners of our life just when we need them the most and pack our parachute for us, the people who go that extra mile, the people who do not look for kudos or accolades or achievement medals or even a bonus check, the folks who are just out there packing parachutes daily for us. Remember, appreciation is the cheapest yet the most valuable gift. How many times a day, a week, a month do we miss the opportunity to thank those people around us who are packing our parachute? Everyone has someone who provides what they need to make it through the day. Epictetus, the Greek Stoic philosopher, said, "Be silent as to the services you have rendered, but speak of the favors you have received." Now, according to Gallup, it's a global analytics and advice firm that helps leaders and organizations solve their most pressing problem the number one reason for high attrition rate or people leaving the company and organization is not salary, but surprisingly, it is lack of appreciation. The same holds true in personal relationship as well. Let us remember that we did not get to where we are today alone. People have helped us along the way. So let us acknowledge, appreciate, and say a thank you to all those in some way have helped us pack our parachutes. While the question of who is packing your parachute is important in terms of appreciation and gratitude, there is another big question, and that's equally important. Whose parachute are you packing? We need to be conscientious and diligent while packing other people's parachute, for someone's life may be dependent on your packing. You may not get recognized for what you're doing or thanked for the efforts you put in, but someday, somewhere, someone might have a safe landing because of your packing. Whether you are a teacher, a contractor, a doctor, a builder, a painter, a policeman, a judge, a politician, anybody, one needs to ask and remind oneself this question: how well am I packing someone else's parachute? Am I confident that the person whose parachute I am packing will have a safe landing? In my profession as a lecturer, I need to introspect and ask myself this important question: am I packing my students' parachute in a way that helps them to go beyond academic milestone to a self-actualization so that they can value their talent and ultimately unlock their potential? Am I enabling them only to scale academic success, or am I empowering them to a fulfilled life? If everyone, everywhere packed a parachute as carefully and diligently as they want their own parachute to be packed, today the world would be truly a paradise. To sum up, I reiterate the words that Charles Plumb himself once said: when you get older and look back on your life, you will not count the dollars, you count the parachutes you packed.